calling to order the Public Awareness Personnel Policy Committee of the Vallecitos Water District. Today is Wednesday, September 14th, 2022. We are meeting in the boardroom. Call to order, and I don't see any members of the public. So I think we can dispense with the public comment, and we can move right in to the agenda. We have no topics for personnel. Oh, sorry, yes we do. We have a new business item, update on Palomar College Fall 2022 semester intern recruitment.
Yeah, I'll take that one. It's a real quick update. So as you know, we finished the intern for our first intern, Greg Gauthier, finished about a month ago. It was an awesome experience. And we're in the process of selecting our next intern, which will start in the fall. Chris is actually interviewing them as we speak. Otherwise, Chris would be here giving this update. But there's two candidates. And interestingly enough, the two candidates are the gentlemen that joined us at the board meeting the other day to get the scholarships.
Okay.
So not only are they scholarship recipients, but they're potential interns for us as well.
Okay,
So
great.
Chris will have the unenviable position of having to select between the two. But what we talked about is maybe select one for the fall semester and then take the other in the spring quarter.
Okay.
So that's where we're at. We're hopeful by the end of the day that we'll make a selection on who the intern will be, and the intern will start on Monday.
Oh, that quickly?
Yeah, that
Okay.
quickly. Yeah,
Okay.
it's happening. So it's just coinciding with the school schedule. So I don't know if Chris is being helped in the selection process by Jacob Sheba. I know Jacob kind of down selected and gave us the list of candidates, but I'm sure Chris will make a great decision.
Okay, good.
So.
I think what I would like to, because we never had the opportunity to meet Greg, so I think
Yeah.
it would be great if at some point in the planning, whether, whenever it works out for everyone, if they could come in and meet the board, maybe
Yeah.
a board meeting, just for some recognition, either when they're getting started or at the end, or it would be nice to meet them, I think.
You're talking at the board level, not the, you don't mean just at
the board level.
At the board
Mhm.
level, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great idea. We may even try to pull Greg back in and he can come in and maybe say a few words.
Yeah, I'd love that.
Greg just reached out to us, I think it was last week, with a really nice letter talking about his experience here. And
Oh,
he said it
good.
was very valuable and he
Good.
loved the experience, and he indicated he'd love to work here full-time if he can ever get a job, but
Well, that's the intent,
That-
right?
that's
I
right,
mean, that's
yeah.
fantastic that he had such a good experience, and it sounds like, we derived some value from having him
yeah.
around too. So.
And it couldn't have been a better pilot experience. He was an awesome intern. I think the crews really enjoyed having him there, and he'd be a good fit. So sometimes we just don't have a position available, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if we have positions come available, we'll certainly let him know that he should throw his hat in the ring.
Yeah, that's great. And, let's say he goes to work at another place and they let him know, or he lets them know that he interned here. That's also a feather in our cap.
It is.
Because, they can see how well he was trained.
Yeah,
So that's good.
yeah. So that's all I have to update on that item.
So how many hours do they work? I mean, it just vary? I mean, they come in a couple hours a day, a couple hours a week?
Yeah, I don't remember the exact number, but the school actually sets those hours in order to get credit for the class, because that's what it is. They get classroom credit by doing the internship program, and they set the number of hours that you have to have. And one of our responsibilities was to verify that they put in the proper number of hours. We had to sign like timesheets that he could submit to his advisors to make sure that they got the right number of hours. But it's pretty
And he
structured
goes all over? I
program.
mean, does he go on site? Does he go in the office? Is he doing admin? Is
He was
doing-
everywhere. Yeah, he talked to people. He kind of job shadowed people in the office. We put him in boots and shirts and sent him out in the field, and he got a really good cross-section of what we do here. And I think it was a really interesting experience for him, because when he came here, he wanted to do one thing. He wanted to get into wastewater treatment, but we didn't have enough time to put him there exclusively, so we gave him exposure to a lot of things, and he said that was very helpful, because he got exposure to things he didn't even know existed, and he actually is leaning towards an area that wasn't in the wastewater treatment, so he likes the pumps and motors area. So that's really helpful for somebody like the intern to help guide their career as they move forward. And again, that's part of the process, part of why we do this.
Right, because if you don't know what questions you don't know, then you can't ask them.
Yeah, that's a perfect example. He didn't know what he didn't know. And when he got exposure to it, it's like, wow, this is a whole world. I didn't know that a water district did that thing, and now he does.
That's good.
So as he finishes his college career, he may select different classes to focus in a particular area. Greg went on, he's actually part of the County Water Authority Regional Intern Program now. So we may see him, he may cycle back through here as under the auspices of the
Okay.
Water Authority program, but he's really a pretty dedicated young man, and he's going to do really well in his career.
Good.
Yeah.
That's great to hear. Okay, anything else on that item? No?
Nothing
Okay.
from me.
Okay, public awareness, new business, notifying residents of rate hearings who live in mobile home parks. This was an item that was brought to me by a constituent, and I think we may all have constituents that live in mobile home parks in our areas. And as we've talked about, some of the challenges for folks that live in mobile home parks with bills and rates and things like that, and they don't pay directly to us, they pay to whoever the property manager is. But this constituent told me, she said, I would still like to know about the rate hearing process, and I would still like to know and be notified when the rates could potentially go up. So I wanted to bring this up as a way to put that on our radar and maybe brainstorm a way that we can try to facilitate that notification. And they are not our direct customers, so I don't know that we have their mailing addresses.
Yeah.
But I wonder if, I wanted to just brainstorm, how can we take a step to maybe facilitate in absence of, we don't have all of their information.
Yeah, that's another example of you don't know what you don't know. And we don't have like a master list of associations within the district service area. So, and I would caution us to be careful if we select one group, we don't want to be at the exclusion of others. So we may be talking about mobile home park residents now, but there's apartment dwellers, there's people that rent private homes that may not get a water bill, but they're kind of in that same category, right? They're may feel the impacts of rate increases, but they're not the bill payer directly. We also have our commercial customers that may rent space in a commercial strip mall, for example, and they may or may not be the owner of record for the bill itself. So I guess I just want to throw that out and make sure, are we talking just the mobile home folks, or are we talking about anybody that uses water that isn't a customer of record or a property owner?
Yeah, and I think that that's an excellent point, because when you talk about all of those folks, it really widens the net. How do we notify people, refresh my memory, how do we notify people who are our customers but the public at large? Or do we?
So we send direct mailers to the customers of record and the property owners. So if you own property, or if you are if you have an account with us, you get that Prop 218 notice that the board approved back in, I don't know, July or whenever we approved that, maybe August, that notice. Anything else is more of just a general public notice. We'll put things on our website. Sometimes we'll put advertisements in papers, things like that. So we comply with all the requirements of the law for general notification, but the specific notification, it's direct mailings to the customers of record and the property owners. Obviously, then we give notification of the public hearing, and the public hearing will be on September 28th, about 2 weeks. And that gets noticed for the customers of record as well. But yeah, there's this group of, I won't call them customers, but a group of users that may be impacted that don't receive direct notification.
I wonder if there's a way that we could commit to posting it on social. That might be a way to do it that, might be an easy lift. It's posting it on social. Do we, and part of it is the onus is on our constituents to also stay in touch with us, right, so that they can be apprised of what's going on. But maybe posting it on social, do we put it in the paper? Do we put it in the newspaper at all?
Yeah, we won't, I don't believe we'll be, we talked with Best and Krieger to make sure we knew all the requirements, and there's no requirement to do a general notification like that. We did the notification through the Prop 218 mailings. So there will be no general newspaper posting, but certainly something like putting it on social media, and I'll just call it as a broadcast. We're not going to be targeting any particular group, but it's just getting thrown out there. We can put it on our website, social media, try to put a little blurb in to make sure people understand what they can and can't do. One thing, I don't want to invite somebody in here and they come in thinking they can protest it, and then they find out that they don't have legal standing.
Yep.
So we need to make sure we clarify it in our notification or information that we send out that you have to be a customer of record or a property owner in order to fully participate and let your opposition be known. But I can certainly talk with Chris and his team about putting something out there to notify folks.
Okay.
Yes, I'm sorry.
There's also a requirement, there's also a requirement, sorry, that they can't just come here and do a verbal complaint. It has to be in writing, correct?
Yeah, correct. They have to submit a written protest. And one of the things we do propose for the meeting on September 28th is we're going to have blank forms in the back that make it easy for people. If they come all this way, make it easy. I've experienced at other agencies where people came and they were very frustrated that they came, they spoke in front of the board, and then they found out that their vote didn't count because they didn't write it down, and they didn't have a piece of paper, and they didn't know what to write down. So we're going to make it as easy as possible for people who attend the meeting to submit a written protest.
And you'll announce that at the meeting?
At the beginning.
And just sort of guide
yeah.
people as
Yeah,
well?
I'll
Okay.
have a conversation with President Elitharp as he
Okay.
kicks off the meeting to make sure people know that it has to be in writing. If you haven't submitted it already, there's forms in the back of the room, and depending on the number that we receive, we may have to do some verification, just like when we do voting, right? People, we want to make sure that the people that sign protests or petitions and things that are legal residents and they have standing. So we probably won't do that at the meeting. It's unlikely that we'll get 11,000 written protests, right? So if you fall short of that.
What's the capacity of this room? Oh, 151, okay.
Yes, I think we may prepare for overflow, but not for 11,000 people.
Right.
That'd be a tough one.
Okay. Well,
So-
I think social seems like a reasonable way to go, don't
Yep.
you? I mean,
Yeah,
just
I think so.
I mean, the relationship is between the customer, the HOA, and their tenant. So that's where, it's almost like we're out of it with them. I mean, as much as they want to, and we want to legally, and we just can't do that. So they've just got to have open communication with their HOA, saying, hey, how come my water bill's going up? The HOA will say, well, I'll go to the meeting and see, but this is why, because our water rates are going up. So that's,
yeah, we can't manage that.
no, we can. I mean, our relationship is with the property owner and the HOA directly, and then how that relationship between tenant and landlord, tenant and HOA is up to them, as far as, that's how I see that, unfortunately.
And many times, the HOA bill or the way they subdivide and submeter it, they tack on additional fees. So our
Right.
increase sometimes gets fully absorbed or sometimes it gets put on. Because I have friends that live in condos where they have a submeter. And when there's been rate increases that we've had that they saw none of, and there's been minor rate increases or no rate increase, and all of a sudden their bill goes up. And they always ask me, because they live in San Leo Hills, how come my water bill went up? We didn't do anything. It's their HOA decided, because they have a contract with the sub-metering company, and the new contract went up, and their rates went up because of that contract. So there's no rhyme or reason.
Exactly the same. I have the same thing with the SDG&E. I have a friend of mine, a couple of friends that, I look at their bills and they're going, why did it go up? And like you said, it's just, and you can't do anything directly with the utility. You can only work directly with your HOA and say, hey, how come I'm paying? It's like, well, and again, we just can't manage that. It's just, it's not
Agreed.
reasonable.
But I think just making the effort to put it on social,
Yeah.
in case somebody missed it in their mail, or in case maybe someone thought it was their, the between the pipes, and maybe they don't typically read that. I think it's a pretty easy lift.
Yeah, I
And it
think
doesn't
so.
cost us any money.
No, you're right, and it won't be tailored for mobile home park or anybody. It'll
Right.
just be a broad
That's right.
notification that this is happening. And we can say in there, in order to have standing, you need to be a customer of record. Everybody's welcome to attend, but only customers of record and property owners can legally protest it. And we certainly don't want to advocate that they go storm the chambers of their HOA we don't want to get in the middle of that, but it'll just be a broad notification that, hey, we're having this hearing, and here's the date and time. So,
Are you okay with that?
Totally. I mean, as long as there's two things always, transparency and communication. So,
Yeah.
we're being transparent, and we're communicating to the public, saying, this is the truth, whether you like it or not. Our relationship is not with you, it's with them. We're being transparent, and we're communicating.
right.
Right, and it's a learning experience for some folks who may not fully understand that, and we can communicate with them about that, and then they can take it up with their HOA.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I agree.
All
Okay,
right, I'll talk with Chris after the meeting.
okay, great, thank
All right, you're welcome.
Any other comments or questions about that?
From staff.
Okay. Policy, and I know that there was a list of policies that we were going to start taking up. So maybe the next meeting we can.
Yeah, we can do that. So
Start.
we do have a list, and I think a lot of them come from, I'm pointing at James because he used to be the district engineer, but a lot of them had to do with engineering-related items. So James, do we still have that list, and when do you think we can start?
Yeah, we still do. We're getting through some of the workload with the development services group, and then what we're trying to do is free them up. The next thing that we're looking at, obviously, we already brought the backflow issue, and we've basically put a ribbon on that, and then we're going to come to the full board per the committee's direction with just the final. We're still gathering a lot of that backflow information from the state and the requirements. And the next item really is not just the time and cap fees, but also the how we do the lease agreements with cap fees, kind of the Lost Abbey issue that some of the board members are dealing with early. So that's the next item on the list. So we started looking at that, and we're hoping to probably, whether it may be the next one or the one after, P3 committee. So don't hold me to the next one, just because we still have kind of a large swath of development work that we're pushing through. But in the next two committee meetings, we plan on bringing it forward.
Great. Okay. Just wanted to find out sort of
Yeah,
where we
and
were.
maybe in addition to bringing a particular item or two forward, maybe we can remind the committee of the list, of what's on the list, and maybe generally say when we be seeing the rest of these. And there may have been issues that have come up between the last time we shared that list and the next meeting that you may want us to add to the list or change the order of things.
Sure. And I think we rely on your expertise to sort of understand what's pressing
Right.
and what's immediate.
Yep.
So.
Agreed, 100%.
And we're trying to get our ordinance 216 on the September 21st agenda. So remember, you guys all tackled that at several occasions, and we're trying to take it back on September 21st
Okay.
for the board to make the final decisions on that one.
Great. Okay.
So one thing, I don't know if it was in this meeting or the board meeting, is it the double valve or the backflow or whatever? How's that going, or is that something we need to address?
Yeah, no, that was in this meeting. So we kind of finalized that meeting and basically looking at what the state requires. We're going to be sending out letters to the customers. We still have to go to the board once we finalize that, and we've been waiting for one answer from the state that we asked probably 3 months ago, and we've been bugging them about every couple of weeks, and we haven't gotten an answer from them yet. Basically, the committee may recall, the backflow ordinance itself is sound and meets the state requirements, but now we're going to go ahead and move forward with the backflows that the district's responsible with. I can't remember the total number, but there's, call it a dozen or maybe a little bit more that the district's responsible, but there's about 180 or 170, I can't remember the number, that the customer's responsible for. We're gonna send them out letters explaining what they need to move forward, give them plenty of time to work with the district. And we're going to basically announce that to the full board with the committee support, that's how we're moving forward on that item. Understanding that the board members will maybe get calls because some of these items are $30,000, $40,000.
And I thought we already did that. Did we not already send out letters?
No, we haven't, because
Oh.
the state came out with a little bit of information. They said, hold off, there may be some either programs available or some exclusions, and we have not gotten an answer about a program, because if there's a program that the state has that helps people, we want to include that in our information. We don't want to send mixed messages, like, you have to do it, and then 4, 5, 6 months later, oh, wait, there's this program that gives you an exemption, so
Right.
we're waiting
Okay.
for kind of those final answers. And we haven't gotten it yet, and there's a good chance we won't get those answers until the new year, because the state is, the way they're working on it is, they're looking at their options and looking at where their funding is. And even though it's not in their fiscal year, I think they're seeing if they have money left over. That's kind of the indication we got.
So does that mean that the letters won't go out until the beginning of the year?
Yeah, we don't want to send out a mixed message
Sure.
unless it's obviously at the board's will, we always can. But from a staff standpoint, it would seem counterproductive to send out one message and potentially in several months send out a completely different message.
Right.
But James, you did mention that we will be moving forward with the district response.
Yes.
Those backflows that the district is responsible
Yeah, we're going to be
for.
budgeting for those, so you'll see those in the district budget with ops staff either working on it or us hiring outside contractor if it's too complicated, or we just don't have the timing with the ops staff to replace a few of those every year, so to meet our obligations.
And public agencies usually aren't eligible for like rebates and incentive programs from the state. It's the private customers that would be, so I don't think we're taking a risk by moving forward before we know what the state may be doing.
Okay.
But we will bring it back to the board, just to let them know when we're going to move forward with the letters and what the letters are going to say, so this way everybody's aware.
Yeah, a heads up on that would be, I do anticipate that we will get calls. Okay. Any other questions or comments about that?
That's it on that.
Okay, our next meeting date is October the 3rd, 2022. And I think with that,
Yeah, that's not very far away, so you'll be getting bugged about agenda items if either of you have agenda items you want to be adding to that agenda, so.
okay. Okay, any other comments or questions? Okay, I think we're adjourned then. Great,
All right.
thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
That's quick.